Go out there and talk to that woman before she comes into town. I want to see who this guy is out there. So they come back, and she says, this is not the Christ, is he? And they went out of the city, and they were coming to him. Now notice in verse 31, in the meanwhile, while all the people from Samaria are coming out, the disciples had just been in Samaria. The disciples were requesting him, saying, Rabbi, eat. They're totally oblivious. Verse 32, and he said to them, I have food to eat that you do not know about. You know, Peter said, John, I didn't see, did he have a lunch bucket? No, I didn't see. Where did he get this food? And Jesus said to them, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and accomplish his work. That's what really satisfies me. Do you not say, yet there are 4 months and then comes the harvest? Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes, stop being oblivious, and look on the fields that they are white for harvest. Already he who reaps is receiving wages and gathering fruit for life eternal, that he who sows and he who reaps may rejoice together. For in this case the saying is true, one sows and another reaps. I sent you to reap. They thought they were going after hamburgers. I sent you to reap that for which you have not labored. Others have labored, and you've entered into their labor. He says, guys, you missed it. The whole city is open to the message. You're acting like Pharisees. I want to show you how powerful this can be. In Luke, the 5th chapter, which is a parallel account here, you've got Matthew and his friends show up. Matthew and his friends show up. But I want you to notice what happens. You'll see that Matthew and his friends were in a backwater town of Capernaum. In Luke, the 15th chapter, it says this, and it's interesting to follow tax gatherers and sinners through Luke. In Luke, the 5th chapter, it's the same incident. In Luke, the 15th chapter, verse 1, it says this, right before he tells the parable of the lost sheep, son, and silver. He says this, and many tax gatherers and sinners were coming to him. Now, that doesn't seem too exciting in the English, but if you open up your Greek New Testament, it gets real exciting, because you will notice that word coming is in the imperfect periphrastic. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? An imperfect periphrastic. I don't have to say any more. You immediately know what I'm talking about, don't you? What that means in the Greek is they were flocking to Jesus. Imperfect paraphrasing means they were continually coming. These tax gatherers and sinners, probably near Jerusalem, maybe had heard about it through Matthew, and they hear that Rabbi Jesus is talking. They say, we got to go see this guy. Did you hear about Matthew's party? So they start flocking to him. Now I want you to notice what happens next. Zacchaeus, a chief tax collector in Jericho, and this is Luke 19. Excuse me, I forgot to put Luke 19 up there. But in Luke 19, all of a sudden, Zacchaeus shows up. Now, Zacchaeus, it says in the Greek, is the arche tax collector. He's the head of the IRS, Israeli Revenue Service. And so you see, Matthew in backwater Capernaum,
can I get a senior coffee?
Christ, started sharing Jesus with his friends. It goes all the way
no, just black.
Anything else?
That's it.
That is a miracle. Someone in the IRS gets converted. But you see, what's going on here is that Pharisees abandon the lost, followers associate with the lost. Look at verse 10. Go back to Matthew now. Matthew, the 9th chapter. Look at verse 10. You see, this is what's going on here. Is not only do the Pharisees are oblivious,
Hi.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Love to meet your friends. He said, well, I'm going to throw a party. Now, Robert, you got to understand, most of these people don't go to the synagogue. In fact, they're not even allowed in it. Was that okay? He says, oh, I'd love to meet meet your friends, Matthew. So notice what happens here. So he throws a party, and they were dining with Jesus and his disciples. Jesus is having a meal with tax collectors and sinners. That's what we call common ground. Common ground. You see, Pharisees abandon the lost, followers associate with lost, and that's common ground. In other words, it's doing something with those who don't know Jesus. You've got the chart there. There are some things that Scripture says we can't do. Some things that we as Christians are prohibited from doing. There are other things that we as Christians are permitted to do. And guess what? There is an overlap. Common ground. What was Jesus doing? He was having common ground with those guys. What was that common ground? He was having a meal. Now, let me ask a question. Are there things that you like to do right now that you think a non-Christian would like to do? The answer is that's yes. Did you know non-Christians eat? They do. They eat food. Did you know that non-Christians play golf? In fact, they're close to the kingdom. I hear them using the Lord's name all the time out there. Did you know non-Christians like to ride motorcycles? Did you know non-Christians like to go to football games? Do you know that non-Christians like to even go to basketball games? Did you know that non-Christians like to go to other sports? Did you know that non-Christians like to do a lot of things we do? That's common ground. That's where we need to be. See, common ground is a shared area of interest, background, experience, ability, or life situations that serve as the basis for developing relationships. Let me ask a question. How many of you all in here have a friend that likes to do something that you like to do? Let me just say, how many have at least one friend in here? Let me just qualify, okay? Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, how many of you in here have at least one friend that likes to do something you like to do? Can I see it? Okay, that's good. That's common ground. That's how you develop relationships. I must tell you that some of my closest and best friends either ride motorcycles or play golf. That's common ground. And guess what? Non-Christians do that. Let me show you.